What is your expected salary? This is one common interview question that you can be asked if you go for an interview. And your ability to answer this question intelligently will exhibit a lot about you and also increase your chances of becoming the selected candidate to fill the position. Why is this question asked? This question is asked because the employer would want to find out what your expectations are, what is your budget, what do you expect to be paid generally at the end of the day, and to find out if they can afford you at the end of the day. Now, you have to be careful in answering the question because if you are not, you are likely to be setting yourself as at a lower standard, which means that you will call a salary that is far below the threshold. That way, you may appear to be cheap, or the employer may end up underpaying you, and it is not their fault, it's your fault. Alternatively, you may end up overstating your value or salary amount that is outside the budget of the entity. So there are two strategies that you can adopt in answering the question of salary expectation at the interview. And that is what we want to share with you on the podcast today. Remember that any other issue that you want me to share my thought on, you can put it in the comment section or the chat box for me, depending on the platform you're watching this from. And also ensure that you share the video, follow us, and stay connected for more videos like this and other ones related to personal development, finance, professional qualification programs, and other issues. Back to the video. What is your salary expectation? There are two strategies that you can adopt in trying to answer this question suggested by HR experts across the globe. The first strategy is what we call the redirect strategy. This is where you redirect the conversation. What does that mean to redirect the conversation? Yes, you've been asked a question, but this is where you turn around and ask the HR panel a question. For instance, you are asked, what is your salary expectation? Then you redirect the conversation. How do you redirect the conversation? You can say something like this: I actually don't understand the full scope of the role at this point in the process to accurately price myself, but I would love to know the budgeted salary range. That's it. Because, at the interview, yes, you may have known about some job description, you may have been told about certain things, but you don't really understand the scope of the job. You don't know how long you're going to be working, whether you're going to be working on Saturdays, working on holidays, working on odd hours. You don't really understand the scope. So the first thing you ask is, what's your budget? What's your budget range? How much are you willing to put on this? That is called the redirect strategy. So that is the first way you approach the question. That's the first way you approach the question. Now, what if they tell you that, oh, okay, yes, we currently don't have a budget, but we want to know how much you would want to be paid? Meaning that they are still persistent to hear how much value you are placing on yourself. So if this first strategy does not work and the HR panel still insists that you should provide an amount for your value, then you can go with a second strategy, and that is to offer a salary range. Never mention a specific figure and end it there. Offer a salary range. But you have to be careful. Your ability to be able to offer a salary range would mean that you have done some research. So it goes back to everything I keep on telling you about interview, that you cannot go for an interview or apply for a job without knowing about the company. So, in order for you to offer a reasonable range, an acceptable range, it means you must have done some research about the company. You must know the industry average, such roles, how much is paid. Number two. Number three, you need to have an understanding of your qualification, your expertise, your value. Because yes, there could be average salary range, but your qualification is above the average salary range, and that could be taken into consideration when determining the range of salary. Then you must also have an information about the entity, probably in the previous role or someone who was handling that role before the person left. How much were they paying the person? So you need to do a thorough research to be able to successfully implement or use the second strategy of offering a salary range. So what can you say in that case? You can say that I'm looking for a competitive salary. that reflects my qualification and experience. Based on my research and the requirements of the role as I understand them, I would expect a salary in the range of, then you mention it, 1,500 Ghana cedi and 3,000 Ghana cedis, $2,000 and $7,000. Then you mention it. That is the second strategy, offering a salary range. That is the second strategy. So if they insist, then you do that. But you have to be careful. In trying to answer the question on what salary do you expect, it is important to take into consideration three things. Number one is you have to state your range and provide a rationale why you've landed at that range. Provide a rationale. So if you look back at the response that we gave earlier on the salary offer, what did we say? We said, I'm looking for a competitive salary that reflects my qualification and experience. Based on my research and the requirements of the role, do you see that? So there is a rationale for the range. The reason why you are calling 1,500 Ghana cedis and 3,000 Ghana cedis is because of your qualification, it's because of your experience, it's because of your research, it's because of the requirements of the job. So there is a rationale that has helped you to reach that particular conclusion. That is the first thing you take into consideration. Two, acknowledge that the salary is just one of the factors that will play into your decision to accept the job or not. You don't want to appear that, yeah, the salary is the done deal. No. You have to let them know that, yes, there are a lot of factors that I'm going to consider before I make the decision to join you, even if you appoint me. It's just one of the factors. I'm going to be considering the scope of the job. Like we mentioned, I'm going to be considering my qualification. I'm going to be considering my experience. I'm going to be considering the culture in the company. I'm going to consider the requirements of the role. So the salary is just one of the factors that you're going to be considering, and you have to let them know that. Then the third one, signal flexibility so that your answer doesn't come off as a demand, but as a beginning of a conversation. You signal flexibility. HR experts have suggested a strategy called compromise. You see, yes, you have set yourself up that based on your qualification, based on your requirements, based on the travel or the distance between your workplace and your residence or place of residence, you will realize that in that case, you would have to take X amount of money. But it is important that you let them know that, no, this is not the final thing. We can negotiate this. We can discuss this. And so you have to be willing to compromise. So that is why I tell people this, because there are some people who are like, yeah, I won't take anything below $3,000. I won't take anything below 3,000 Ghana cedis. I'm like, you won't take anything below? Then you remain unemployed. So you have to be willing to compromise and be flexible. Yes, you have set your benchmark. Yes, you have set the standard, but you must be willing to let a negotiation comes in so that you reach a reasonable salary range in that particular case. Because by the time that the HR consultant or the employer is talking to you about salary, it means that they are interested in you and they are closer to picking you as the right candidate for the job. So what is your expected salary? First strategy, redirect the conversation. If that doesn't work and they still push you, go to the second strategy, offer a salary range. But be mindful that you know about the company, you understand the scope of the job, you know about the industry average, and you take into consideration your experiences, your expertise. That is what you have to understand when it comes to answering this question. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.